Hey everyone, it's Justice for Comics. Wanted to do this video to do a quick review of Deceased number 1 and 2, kind of go over a couple highlights in the book that I liked. Also, just checking CBR, anything in the news, and pretty interesting article here about Captain America. Chris Evans is the social justice warrior we need. He's very outspoken. I know if you follow him on Twitter, he does get political. I try not to get political. I agree with everybody having equal rights. I think these days that should be common sense. But there's a lot of people that are a little short of common sense. But so I agree with. Socially, I'm very liberal. I believe if you're gay, you're straight, whatever, if you want to marry somebody, if you're gay, that's absolutely your business. I think you should have every right to do that. So I'm very socially liberal. The only thing I'm conservative with is, and I don't like to think about government that much because I think a lot of time it's a waste of brain power to think too much about government. But I don't like to see waste and fiscal irresponsibility, and I think, whether you're Democrat or Republican, I think you can easily agree that there's been abuse on by both sides as far as just spending way too much money on stupid things. So that's about as political as I get. I try not to be too political. And I do like Chris Evans. I think he's a nice person. Captain America is definitely for standing up for the little guy. He kind of follows that same motto in real life, or at least, you never really know if you know somebody that deep down, but at least on the surface it appears that way, right? Through some of the things he says publicly in his Twitter feed and all that. So yeah, good on him. I mean, it's you've got gay pride coming up, and I think everybody should be who they are meant to be, and repressing people for who they are, I think, is ridiculous. So that's my 2 cents on that subject. I didn't mean to get too deep, but I thought that was a good article. So let's jump into Deceased number 1. This is the A cover. Yeah, nice cover by Capullo. I like how it starts off. You're seeing Darkseid, and Justice League is there, and all of a sudden, he's basically defeated, and so he leaves. Kind of skipping through a little bit, and this really starts with the anti-life equation, and I guess this is one of Darkseid's minions, and he's dissecting or about to dissect Cyborg, right? Try to get information out of him, and in doing so, he releases basically a plague, right? He releases the anti-life equation, and it spreads through a digital means. So basically, like a computer virus, and this signal gets sent from Cyborg directly to Earth. So that's kind of the origins of how this all started. So they're technically, I guess they are zombies, but they're more. I guess the anti-life equation is just the sole purpose of when someone's infected with it is to kill what is alive, right? So that's the same as a zombie, right? A zombie is undead, and its sole purpose is either to eat brains of somebody that's alive, but so the zombie doesn't attack the other zombie, right? So that's one of the precepts of the undead. But man, this is a great first issue because it gives you the background of how this gets set up, how this all starts, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I like the build up, and how it gets transported to Earth. Cyborg basically uses a boom tube, and he comes to Earth, and all of a sudden, there's the first transmission right there, from that cell phone, and all of a sudden everybody just starts turning into the undead, and then Superman right away, with his super hearing, knows something's wrong. Can you hear that? And he rushes off, and he knows the world is all of a sudden going very dark. So he's going right away for Lois and Jonathan to save them. And they leave you with a cliffhanger. Close your eyes, don't look at the screen. And then you're right back to, of course, the brains of the Justice League, which is basically Batman. Batman's ability to solve any problem, tackle any problem. He right away assesses the situation, right, globally, finds out about how many are infected. And, yeah, I mean, this is just a great first issue. I think this is going to be one of the great DC series. I mean, I like this a lot better than War of the Realms. I mean, that was Marvel's big event recently. I just think this is way, way better. And obviously this is not, this is kind of like an Elseworlds, right? This is not going to be in DC continuity. It's basically like an Elseworlds. Just like Marvel Zombies, right? Same thing. And then you got a pretty cool action scene here of Nightwing going after Batman. Nice fight scene. Really, really cool. And then boom, another cliffhanger. He bites Batman and infects Batman. So there's two ways people get infected with this anti-life equation. It's digital and also physical as well, right? So like a regular zombie, if you bite somebody, you've infected them. And if they look at anything digital, they also get infected. So really, really good first issue. I was impressed by it. Taylor is the writer, right? Is it Tom Taylor? Yep, Tom Taylor's the writer. I thought he did a great job. I mean, that first issue was impressive. I enjoyed it. So second issue, this is my John Jeong cover of Deceased #2. And I like how it starts off and we see, hey, what's going on with the SeaWorld, right? Aquaman is checking out this abandoned boat, and all of a sudden he opens it, and man, there's all these zombies, and poof, they fly into the water with him, and then that's it. You don't really know what happens to Aquaman, right? So that's kind of cool. I like that beginning sequence. And then you find out, okay, Lois and Jonathan are okay. They weren't infected. Superman got there in time with his super speed. And then we go back to Gotham, and here you got Harley and Poison Ivy kind of joining. They've always kind of been a pair. Joining forces, they kind of figure out what's going on here. So let's skip ahead a little bit. Probably not supposed to show every page for copyright reasons. There's the Joker, and obviously he's infected. So I think the third issue, you're going to jump more into that. Let's get to the important part of this issue. I'm going to skip a couple pages. So basically, Green Lantern goes in his tent and looks at his phone, probably to check messages, and all of a sudden, boom, he just starts attacking Mockingbird and Green Arrow. And they start fighting, and I think this is pretty funny, the punch glove, like that's going to do anything to a Green Lantern. That's pretty funny. So all of a sudden, Green Arrow's about to bite the dust, and Mockingbird just, it's not Mockingbird, not my same Mockingbird for. I don't think it's Mockingbird, is it? I think that's a Marvel character. I think I'm confused. I think it's Mockingbird. I could be wrong. You guys, I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. So she screams and boom, it disrupts Green Lantern. Then it kind of leaves you a cliffhanger there. And then Superman hears the scream, right? So he's like, oh, holy shit, let me get on that. So Superman goes to find out what's going on. And basically, she fried his brain with her scream. And she ends up picking up the ring, and the ring is scanning for somebody who's can overcome great fear. And yeah, Diana, that's her name. She has the ability to overcome great fear, so boom, she becomes the new Green Lantern. So that's a good moment. I thought that was a really cool element in the story. I like every issue. There's something that kind of a little twist maybe that makes things interesting. So there's a lot of, people are now interested in this character because she's become a Green Lantern. But again, it has no bearing in DC continuity. She's not going to be a Green Lantern, in regular DC world. So I don't know why it should matter. This is all hypothetical. This is not going to, this is a standalone story. So they kind of go into the fact that Batman's been infected, but he's, of course, so intelligent that somehow, I don't know how, I guess because the bite was slow progression, he was able to instantly get into one of Mr. Freeze's outfits and slow the progression of the infection, but can't stop it. So it kind of ends pretty cool with Batman turning and Alfred having to put him down like a dog. So I just thought these first two issues were very good. It definitely makes it so that I want to continue reading it. I haven't felt this way about a comic book in a long time, as far as the action and just the kind of the coolness of it, that these characters, how everybody's being infected by this virus and turning into zombies. And I probably would have liked Batman to survive a little longer, but looks like he's gone. But we'll find out in issue 3 what happens, especially with the Joker and Harley. I think there's going to be several panels talking, going over that, what happens with the two of them. But overall, the first 2 issues of Dceased, I really liked them. I thought they were excellent. You have a nice Matina cover for number 1. And what's the other cover I liked? Oh yeah, the Putrid cover is really nice. I just thought that was awesome. And it's regularly priced too, so you didn't have to go out and spend a lot of money on it like you do on some of these store variants. Is it the Inhook Lee? No, not Inhook Lee. Geez, I'm saying Inhook Lee, but it's not. I think it's Ji Hung Lee. Yeah, is the one that did this one of the Harley Quinn, and I think that's from 28 Days. Was that the? I remember that scene from 28 Days with the zombie eating somebody in the corner of a dark room. That's what it reminds me of. But yeah, so I really like Dceased number 1 and 2. Can't wait for number 3 to come out. Should be picking that up here in a few weeks. That's kind of all I had. I just want to do a brief review. I'll try to do more reviews of comic books, things that I thought were, really good, a really good read, good artwork, that kind of thing. So what I look for in a great comic book is not only great artwork, great covers, but really good writing, something that kind of keeps me wanting to go to the next issue. So I like cliffhangers. I like kind of finding out what happens in the next issue. I don't know why more comic books don't do that. I don't think it's that difficult of a writing element to writing comic books, but I don't know, one of these days maybe I'll start writing comic books. I can come up with some good stories, and you've got to craft it in a way that keeps the reader engaged and also makes the reader want to buy the next issue, right? Comic books, like anything, is all about sales, and what gets that person to continue to buy the issues. A lot of people buy issue number one, right? Because it's an issue number one, but sales fall off a lot on issue two, and then by the time you're at 3 and 4, you better be telling a good story by then to get people to continue to buy it. That's why the certain series like Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman White Knight, that did well pretty much every issue, right? It did really well number one, but the sales just continue to be strong on that all the way through. And I believe that was that an 8 or 9 issue run? Yeah, I know maybe 10. I don't know. It was a good run. Might have been 12. I don't know why I can't think of how many. I own the whole run, but I just can't remember how many issues it had. But I do remember even the later issues in that run were still pretty good sales. So, that's what you want to see in a comic book. Really good writing, good artwork, good covers. All those elements make for a great comic. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of Deceased. Yeah, what do you think of the book? I tried to review it. This is my one of my first comic book reviews, so let me know how you think I did, if there's things I need to improve on. I'm always trying to improve my channel, improve the content. And I'm going to be announcing also probably tomorrow, going to be joining another YouTuber, and we're going to be doing a conversation back and forth about comics, gaming, different topics, movies. We'll probably cover different things, but I'll try to get that information out to you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, have a great day.